The CFL Gambling Podcast Week 7 reaction show and power rankings episode. The Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog is giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Yes, they do have CFL action, folks. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE. SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections, and their college football product is about to drop. Claim your free 7-day trial period by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Jerry Glanville, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother.
Welcome to the CFL Gambling Podcast Week 7 reaction show and power rankings. Oh yes, another wild week of CFL action. And I'm excited to talk all about it. YouTube.com. Hop on over there, CFL Gambling Podcast. You can watch this thing, put it on a TV, put it on a computer screen. If not, you can just listen to it. Hey, I come from an era where I had to listen to big time college football games on the fucking radio. All right. No, I wasn't born in the 1940s, but regionality was a real big issue back then. I remember having to listen to, there's a famous Colorado, Michigan game with Cordell Stewart and a Hail Mary. I had to listen to that fucking thing on the radio. Like I was living in the 1940s. My dad would say, "You don't know how great you have it, son." No, Dad, I had it exactly like you. Just a little different. Anyway, big time week of CFL action. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's fair. My name is Colby Swig at Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I'm probably drinking too much and celebrating too much and not sleeping. I would have killed a normal man, but no, that's gone. The medical advice I got from that was like being hit by lightning. Pretend it never happened and get on with your life.
The first 3 games that went on, it was like I got hit by lightning in a negative way. Because there is a positive way of being hit by lightning. Positive way meaning I hit by lightning, meaning you won all your bets. I mean it like, no. I hit rough seas. But damn if I didn't have a nice money line play to cap off the weekend. It reminded me of like week 2 or something or week 3 where I was struggling, but I hit, maybe it was week 1. I don't remember. Actually, I think it was week 1 the more I think about it. I am joined by the totals god himself. Give it up for the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast and the UFL Gambling Podcast. Whatever, wherever he lays his hats his home. Give it up for Justin Mark, aka No Turn J Mark. How you doing, pal?
It was a hell of a weekend, man. Not just because I went 0-4 against the spread, 4-0 against totals though. So you pointed that out. I think I texted you. We took.
I don't get.
Sorry. What you went where?
So the wife and I decided we took a little risk, splurged on some windows for a greenhouse building for the future. And when I'm picking those up with my father-in-law, she calls me. The fridge is leaking water everywhere. Great. Turns out the fan went out and ruined all the flooring underneath.
Yeah, no turn fridge.
And then our AC wasn't working well. Turns out we blew the compressor in that. So it was a hell of a fucking weekend, man. And this after deciding that we were going to take this financial jump and buy these windows that were expensive. And now it's like, it's raining, it's pouring, the bets can't hit. What the fuck is happening, man? But you know what?
It just got a little more expensive, right?
Right. Yeah. I poured myself a margarita because I needed a good stiff drink today. A little out of character. not having whiskey, but I got a margarita. I've been working outside, fixing the AC with my father-in-law. I'm sweaty. I'm unapologetically J Mark today. Let's go.
I like it, buddy. And yeah, that's tough, man. What are you gonna be growing in this quote unquote greenhouse?
Just a lot of wheat. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what I figured. It's not legal in Iowa yet, right?
No, it's not. But we do have I guess it's not cannabis. It's what's the other one?
Slang. Are we talking slang for weed?
No.
CBD.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
CBD farm is like a mile down the road though. So, which you can grow in Iowa, I guess. It's basically the same thing, just a little bit different strains, and they extract a little bit differently. But no, we're gonna have all sorts of stuff, man. I mean, the wife's gonna do flower arrangements, flower baskets, and all sorts of veggies and all sorts of stuff.
There you go. Just so we know, Canadians out there, if you watch the movie Greenland, everyone was trying to get to Greenland. Horrible movie, by the way. But don't watch the movie. But I'll give you a Cliff Notes version. Everyone's trying to get to Canada to go to Greenland. Right? It's a post-apocalyptic. Well, the plan is if this happens in real life, to everyone, including Canadians, Mexicans, shit, really all of North America, the plan is to go to J Mark's house. All right. Well, pending the air conditioning situation, but certainly with everything else. How many acres again?
Just 8.
Just 8. That might be a problem. We might have to buy some more land. But anyway, yeah, fun weekend of action. And yeah, I mean, there were some really good games. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I went 1-3. But I did hit a fire money line there to close it off. But let's jump into it because game 1. Actually, wait, before I do that, let me tell you, you are listening to the CFL Gambling Podcast. Make sure you check out, we're part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and we want you to check out the Major League Baseball Gambling Podcast. Yes, the MLB Gambling Podcast is going to give you all the dingers you need when it comes to picks. So you crush the rest of the MLB regular season and dominate in the playoffs. Check out the MLB Gambling Podcast because the season's in full swing. Plus, the college football experience is knee deep in 134 college football previews, 1 hour dedicated to every team in the land. And guess what? I host that fucking thing. So get on over there and check that out. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And in the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store, Google Play Store. And remember, as always, folks, too, let it ride. All right, back on the CFL Gambling Podcast. In game 1, was if we got slides up. Get on it. Whoa, I'm fucking this up though. Which one's better? I think this one's better. The Eskimos went to Ottawa. As you remember, if you listen to us on our pick show, Rod Villagomez coming out victorious against me and you.
Yeah.
As they take down the Edmonton Eskimos. Look, this game was incredibly frustrating, but I do believe Ottawa was the better team, even though Edmonton could not make a fucking field goal to save. Look, these damn Canadians are so nice. The announcers basically justifying all these misses. It's like, it's a little windy over there. And it's like, no, see, like what your job is if the other guy can do it, you can fucking do it. All right. Chip shots, J Mark. I know you were out on the roads. I feel like for this one, when I was just texting you misery. This fucking kicker, I don't even remember his name right now. He was horrible, and he's been horrible all year. They got to get rid of him. Sorry, CFL announcers. Next time you need to be more human and say he has been terrible today. All right. I hate watching a game where there's no opinion. All right. You have to have an opinion, and trust me, when he's missing these fucking chip shots, you should have an opinion, and it should be he sucks, because that's what he did. He sucks. They also can't run the ball. They only ran for 40 yards. They even won the turnover battle, but they couldn't. They squandered so many opportunities where they got turnovers and missed field goals. It was very frustrating. It was a very frustrating game. Yeah. I truly believe we should have we should have been able to win. I mean, like Ottawa definitely played better, but they turned the ball over more. So Edmonton could have won that game had they not been little bitches. McLeod Bethel Thompson's complaining about what is the back-to-back away games or some shit, or just the fact they played last week. I think he needs to be a little quiet too. All right, McLeod, pipe down, buddy. You threw for a 210. You didn't set the world on fire, buddy. I did take the over. I ate shit there. Hey, maybe if you make one of your 4 fucking field goals, we win this game. All right. Cause it changed the whole pace of the game. Shout out to Ottawa. I don't think they're that good, but hey, Rod Villagomez, and shout out to Rod Villagomez. He was right. His Red Blacks got the dub. And your thoughts on this game, man?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed your texts. The first one was Edmonton kicker sucks ass. And then I don't know, about 20 minutes later, he's the worst kicker ever, bum ass team. I like the progression there, but I've watched football at the in-laws, who did not watch a lot of football before I was there. And my mother-in-law has said many times, when a kicker misses the field goal, isn't that their only job? Which is a good point. And this is a guy that, I'm going to put the loss on him basically last week too, because he had the kickoff where they kicked it out of bounds and gave Ottawa the incredible.
Yeah, he's terrible at his job. He should be
terrible. Agreed. And I don't understand. So Edmonton, they go through these changes, they fire the coach, and then they say, oh, we're going to give Trey Ford some opportunities. They gave him one series. What's the point of even putting him in there if you're going to give him one series?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at all. Like, if you're going to give the backup a chance, give him a fucking chance. Don't just give him one series. Like, he can't build any rhythm that way. And so, I think they should have won this game, but credit to Ottawa. I think McLeod Bethel Thompson, he is what he is, right? I mean, he is who we thought he was. He can do okay, but he's not going to win you a ton of games. He might not lose you a ton of games, but I think they need to make a change there at quarterback. They need to see what Trey Ford can do in a full game, not give him a series or two.
Shit, I would use any of their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, something has to, you change up the pace. I'll be honest, like, they're a pretty boring team to watch because of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, and they can't run for shit, man.
No,
they don't even commit to the run. They had like 10 rushes the entire game. They're just they might be moving up the ranks as far as the worst team in the league. Boris, what is it? Bede? I forget how to pronounce his last name, but trust me, he should no longer be employed to play the game of football. Very frustrating game, because I do think we were there. Like, one of those, I don't have it in front of me. One of them was like a 20-yard field goal, and he missed it by a lot, man. I was like, good. Like, I'm not joking when I say this. Like, I could have had it a little more accurate. Now, I don't know if it would have went in, but goddamn it, I can kick it in the right direction. You know what I mean? Like, this shit was like far to the right. What a shitty performance.
Agreed.
And the Red Blacks, let's talk about this Red Blacks team. Are they going to go to the playoffs?
I mean, they have an opportunity, right? They're looking good. They're winning the games that they need to win. And this is a team that the past couple of years, the defense has pretty much had it together. It's been the offense that has struggled. But I think with Raquel Armstrong as the running back, Drew Brown as your quarterback, I think they could make a push and make the playoffs.
I think they could too. This game was incredibly frustrating on all accounts, because Justin Hardy caught what I thought was like a 9-yard pass, which would have sent him over his underdog fantasy prop, which would have hit, because I had that was the last, like, it was the first leg, but it was all the other ones hit. So it's very frustrating though. But shout out to the Red Blacks. They're definitely, they've matched their win total from a year ago. Yeah. And it's mid July. Are
Our boy Pimpleton showed out again. He didn't have a huge stat line, but he was the most targeted wide receiver. I think he's got a good future.
Yeah, he was a beast in college, man. If you guys watch college football, the Maction, he was a guy that was an absolute animal in the MAC. Let's jump over to the next game because you want to talk about frustrating. Oh man, just when you start to buy in on Winnipeg, they should start Strevler. I'm so sick. So he's got one start. He's 1-0 as a starter. He gives this team the best chance to winning. I know Caleros is a stud historically. I believe the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' best chance to win a football game is with Chris Strevler starting. Fight me on that. They only had 14 first downs. They only ran for 65 yards. Saskatchewan, and I got to give it to Corey Mason, this team. They're gritty, man.
Yeah.
They're a gritty fucking team, man. And I enjoy, even though I didn't enjoy betting against them and losing money. I did. The under hit for us though. I did have a large wager on the under. This is my favorite total, I think, of the whole weekend. But I like this Saskatchewan team because they play really fucking hard for them. Like they're just a gritty team to me, and there's something to say about that. You know what I mean? It speaks volumes to me. And I think you got a bright future with Corey Mace as your head coach, just because I think the team is a hard team. They play hard. You know, I've ridiculed the Hamilton Ticats. I've ridiculed a few different teams here for playing like pussy ball. I cannot say that about Saskatchewan at any point this year. Even in the games that, you know, even in their worst performances, I still thought they play hard, and I admire that. So shout out to them winning 19-9. What a horrible offensive performance by Winnipeg. 3 turnovers. Your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, and undefeated at home, so they're going to be a tough team to beat at home. I know we were kind of fading them because of Shea Patterson. Didn't have a great game and still won. I did a little deep dive in watching some game tape on this one. Now, Zach Claros, all respect to him. He has done a great thing in the CFL. He has been a great player, but I went back and watched his throwing motions from a year ago, 2 years ago. It's a little different this year, and it just makes me wonder, is that arm still there? Yeah, he's still making some good throws, but I think he's working a hell of a lot harder to make them. And I think that he's just having a little bit of issues, not with necessarily the mechanics. I think it's the arm strength. He's a little older and he's been in this league a while. I think his arm strength is going down, and you can see it in his motion. It's just a little bit different, that it really made me wonder, like, something's going on there. I don't know if he's hurting or if just the arm strength isn't there anymore. But I 100% agree with you. They need to turn the keys over to Chris Strevler. I know it's tough. Zach Claros has done great things for your team. I get it. But if you want to win this year, I think you have to. You got to go with the guy that, yeah, he's a little more inaccurate sometimes, but he can also run around. He can extend plays. He can use his legs to get first downs. Like you have to, at this point, I think, give him the keys to the offense. I think that's their only hope.
Yeah. Then there's many ways you can win the game or skin the cat, whatever the hell the quote is. But, you know, Strevler's not going to, and by the way, like the play, or to your point, there was a play, and I forget what wideout it was that was running deep, where he had Saskatchewan's defensive back beat so bad, and Caleros underthrew it so much that they didn't even call PI. The defender, like the receiver had to slow up. The defender kind of runs into him, but it was like simultaneously as the ball was coming down. If he had the strength to throw that, if that was Vernon Adams, that was an 80-yard touchdown. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like so I get your point. Another thing is I just don't know how comfortable he feels back there with the way the O-line's played. Sometimes that has something to do with it, where you just keep it closer to releasing it because you've been under distress so much.
Yeah. That's true.
But I believe Strevler gives you the best chance. It's not going to be as pretty though. Like I get it. Caleros will throw for 300. Strevler will never probably throw for 300. But if you want the best chance of winning the game, there's many ways you can win a game. And to me, it'd be, you know, going, you know, almost running a quarterback and, you know, doing a lot of option read stuff with him, as far as like play action, even because he's good enough to complete pass. He's like Tebow. He really is like Tim Tebow. So yeah, I we'll see. Saskatchewan though continues to win, man.
Yeah, and shout out to AJ Alouette. 2 weeks ago, he was only averaging 3.3 yards per carry. He's really started. I don't know if he's running harder or the offensive line is just clicking more, but he averaged 5.2 this game, 17 carries for 88 yards. He's definitely starting to trend upward. Maybe it took him a while to gel with the new team. I don't know, but he's looking better.
Yeah. Look, before we get to the next game, I want to tell you the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy just launched their college football best ball product. Yes, and the college football experience are going to have some episodes doing some best ball stuff. First place wins 20 grand. How about that? Plus the higher lower pick 'em pick 8 allows you an opportunity to win 325 times your entry. You can do that for CFL. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. You can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Game Time. Look, I don't know about you folks out there. You ever been pissed off when buying tickets? Like you get to your seat and it's just a horrible, horrible spot. And I'm so glad Game Time exists because I used to go to like the team's actual website. Like if I was going to a Toronto Blue Jays game, I would say, let me go to their actual website. And then they don't even really show you, like they show you almost like a video game version of where your seat would look like. And then you show up to where you think your seat is and it's a completely different fucking thing, or they have a pillar in your way to a certain extent. That happens. And that's a problem. That's why if you don't want to deal with that, which you shouldn't, you need to check out Game Time. Game Time is now the authorized ticket marketplace of the MLB, which makes getting tickets even faster and even easier. And look, one thing that's great about Game Time is the prices on the app go down as it gets closer to first pitch. Yes, it's remarkable. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, and get this, views from your seat, your actual seat, they're going to show you before you get it. And their lowest price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets, folks. So what are you doing? Hop on over there. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use the redeeming code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, terms apply. Create an account. Redeeming code CFBX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. All right, jumping over to the third game. The Ticats, those sons of bitches. I knew this one was wrong, dude. When we did this episode, I knew it. The line made no sense. That's another thing for this week. I disobeyed lines that made no sense on my picks, and I went 1-3 for it. Right?
Yep.
I remember thinking, in each one of these matchups, I actually think all 4 games really. And I only jumped on one that I just thought made no sense and it hit. This was certainly one of them. I mean, Toronto did outgain Hamilton and Hamilton only rushed for a nice 50 yards, but they won and they did play a lot better. The fans were out. I love their fans. And, man, these Argos, there's some red flags. There's some red flags with these Argos, man. But what was your take on this game, man?
Yeah, so it was interesting. This line opened at 4.5 early in the week. By the kickoff, it was 2.5. So
why? I was doing a spot on VSiN on Friday or Thursday, one of the two. I think it was Friday actually. And they asked me about this game, and the spread had gone down by that point. I was perplexed with the original number, but then it went down, and I'm like, how the fuck does this make any sense? So I was on this. I took Toronto on the show, and I was just like, but the line stinks to high heaven. Why the hell would the line go down? Make it make sense for me.
It doesn't make sense, except that I think Argos are a little fraudulent. I really do. I think the Cam Dukes honeymoon is over. This is a guy that, yeah, he had a 37-yard pass. I get it, but he's a dink and dunker. I mean, the announcers pointed out that the week before he had 2 passes over 9 yards. He's not extending the field in the passing game, and that is really hurting them. Khalil Herbert is running for, or Kadeem Carey, not Khalil Herbert. Geez, Kadeem Carey is wrong bearer there. He's running for his life. He's doing very well out of that backfield. He's plowing over some guys, but he can't do it all. And when they go to pass, I feel like the defense knows, hey, this is going to be a short pass. Their defense not doing much better. I mean, they're a young secondary. I get that, but they're making so many mistakes in coverage. This team's fraudulent. I don't think they should have won as many games as they have. I don't think Dukes is the guy. Arbuckle did look okay.
I was about to say he looked good to me.
Yeah, he did. Maybe that's a little bit of, hey, we didn't prep for this guy. He plays a lot different. But yeah, he looked a lot better than Dukes did. I know there's a lot of chatter now. If you look at articles and everything and the X social media, a lot of chatter about, is it going to be Dukes? Is it going to be Arbuckle? I mean, I'm over here saying, what about Brian Scott? I mean, give him a fucking chance. Dukes has looked bad. Arbuckle has not really found long-term success in the CFL. Why not throw Scott in for at least a game, a full game, see what he can do? At this point, I don't think they don't have anything to lose. They're falling farther behind in their division.
See, the thing is, though, is that we're 7 weeks in, there are some strong performances by Dukes, though.
Yeah.
So like my thing is, as a coach, like whether it's Scott, whether it's Arbuckle, I don't like a coach that switch, like Spurrier would drive me fucking crazy. Quarterbacks like every possession.
Yeah.
I do think there's something to be said of like, hey, this is our guy. Because struggles do happen. You have games where you struggle, but I'm not saying that Dukes is their best guy. To me, like Arbuckle definitely looked better in this game, but like,
yeah.
Or maybe Brian Scott, who looked good the time we did see him. But whoever they start, I would like more commitment from the coach, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And Dukes' first couple games, he had first 2 games, I think it was 5 passing touchdowns. He had some rushing ones as well, 0 turnovers. And then the next 2 games, 0 passing touchdowns, 5 turnovers. I mean, they're struggling.
They should run him more too. He's pretty athletic.
100% agree.
Hamilton. Do you buy any stock in Hamilton?
They almost blew this game, right?
I know, man. I mean, there's 2 more minutes on the clock. They lose this game.
Agreed. Yeah, they had the punt block, which put them ahead and shifted the momentum of this game immediately. And I think that helped them. And they were ahead by quite a bit. And I thought all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, Toronto scores 14 points. I thought, holy shit, they're going to win this game. And I agree with you. A couple more minutes. So no, I don't really buy in. I mean, they got off to a fast start. They put up a lot of yards. They've been doing that. But they almost blew the game again. They didn't blow it. Credit to them for that, I guess, but they almost did. It should have never been this close.
Yeah, dude. What was that score like? 10-minute mark. It was like 27 to 10 or something. I don't remember, but it was like they got this, and Toronto definitely made it close, man. Mm-hmm. All right. Look, before we get to our final game, I want to tell you that the CFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Rhythm. Yes. Look, if you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, then you're missing out. They dominated the British Open, and their college football product is about to drop. You can now even customize your own betting models easily using Rhythm's tools. So claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Circa Sports and Circa Survivor and Circa Millions at Circa Sports. Yes, I was just at the Circa in Vegas all last week. Might have caught the CFL episode I did from a hotel room. Circa's fantastic. If you haven't been to Circa in Vegas with Stadium Swim, nothing like kicking back, Stadium Swim, greatest sports book in the world. You can have yourself a nice Molson as you watch some CFL action. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Look, imagine the regret you will have if you enter your little office, your Survivor office pool, down by the water cooler there. You say, oh yeah, I'll do this thing. But you don't enter the Circa one. So you could win $16 million. So you might clean up the office, win what? Bob's Big Boy gift card. You know what I mean? And $75 or something. I don't know. But you're going to feel like, damn, I should have just entered the big one. I'd be a millionaire now. And of course, one of the best things about Circa is Derek Stevens, the owner. Shout out to Derek. Hell of a good guy. There's no rake on these contests. He's not in it to steal your money. All right. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football season. May I recommend Ultimate Contest Weekend? It's a great time to go out. You can hang with our pals, Stacking the Money Green and Ryan Real Money Kramer of the Sports Gambling Podcast, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through August 24th. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th. To enter. And look, you could use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. So hop on over there and do all that stuff, folks. All right. We are back talking CFL action. Final game.
I got one thing I'd like to say about Circa. If you go there, which you should, I haven't been there yet. I need to get there. I've heard a lot of great things, but if you go there, go to Barry's, their steakhouse. Fantastic. And if you don't want to eat there, that's fine. But ask for the Barrel Select Iowa Legendary Rye. They have their own Barrel Select with Iowa Legendary Rye. I could tell you all sorts of great things about Iowa Legendary Rye. We had Heath on our show, Heath Schneider. His great grandma was a bootlegger. So so that's pretty sweet. She was a bootlegger back in the day, and this is her original recipe that she was using to make this whiskey, and it's really good stuff. So if you go there, go to Barry's, get that whiskey and try it,
buddy. And I can tell you this, and you're gonna have to remind me of that, but that's why you want to check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, because nuggets like that, J-Mark dropping. I've been to Barry's multiple times, like 5-6 times. That's a great steakhouse.
Nice. Next time get the Iowa Legendary Rye, man.
Yeah, I got to get that. And if you go down to that restaurant, that it's in the circuit, you got to go down the stairs. It is a very classy joint. So you're out in Vegas, if you're bringing the girlfriend, the wife, or if you're getting a local performer, you go there. It's a class move. So hop on over there and do that. Final game on the slate was my one that I winner chicken dinner. Kind of saved my whole weekend, to tell you the truth. Not that I had an amazing weekend from a profit standpoint, because I had a DFS lineup with Cam Dukes, who did a nice 8 points or something in DFS. I knew this one. This is one I knew. This is when I bought. I thought the line stunk, but I also thought, second time playing them in like the past 3 weeks. And that's something we should pay attention to now. Cause short of the Ottawa one, Toronto and Montreal, when they played the second time, that shit is mattering in this season, this particular season. But I thought Calgary's just been better than their record. I really do. They put up 372 yards of offense, and this was a really impressive performance on the defensive side of the ball from Dave Dickinson's bunch. Forcing the 2 picks from Vernon Adams and limiting that passing attack to just 192 passing yards. That has me believing that Calgary is actually a contender for this Grey Cup. We'll see if they can like close out some wins away from home, but very impressive performance. They almost blew this one too. Like they were the better team all day, but definitely close win. Your thoughts on this one as now I had a large, so I had Calgary in the points, but I had Calgary money line. I also, loaded up the DFS roster with a good amount of BC Lions. Ate shit on the DFS front this week. Your thoughts on this game though?
Yeah, no, I mean, at least Justin McKinnis scored. I was 5 points off of placing for money in DFS. Just need a little bit more from Vernon Adams, I guess. I was really impressed with Calgary. This is the one game we disagreed on, and so you won it, I lost it. Had to be a winner, had to be a loser. Was just impressed that they were able to slow that passing game. I mean, we've been talking about how Vernon Adams in this passing attack has been on fire. He's looked like the best quarterback. I still think he is, don't get me wrong, but this was a setback for them. And Calgary, I mean, they from the very beginning, they had their foot on the gas. They didn't let up. They got close to losing the game, but this was just an impressive performance on both sides of the football. Really, I was impressed. Didn't think they were going to win it. And
It was a must-win game for them, dude, because they had, in my opinion, they played better than Montreal. 3 weeks ago was it?
Yeah.
And I thought they played better than Winnipeg, and they let them both off the hook and ended up losing both games. And this was one where I felt like, had you lost this one, it would have been crushing. Now that you've got this win, I feel like it kind of rejuvenates the everything for the season moving forward.
Yeah, no, it's huge for their division chances. They still got Rough Riders at 5-1, BC at 5-2, but the fact that they didn't lose this game to BC, which would have given BC the tiebreaker for sure, is huge. And I talked about it. I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. Jake Mayer looking better and better. This
He's
is a
good
guy
this year, man.
Yeah, he started every game for them last year. He's the only quarterback that played every game for his team, and I think that's mattering. That's showing that he looks a little better this year. He looks a little bit more veteran this year, not making stupid mistakes, and I think that's going to pay off in the long run.
I do too. I want to get to our power rankings here, but I want to just talk a little bit about the week upon us. Back to the four nights and 4 days, the 4 games in 4 days, which I prefer. I think. I don't know about you. Saskatchewan is at Montreal on Thursday, and by the way, our pick show will come out on Wednesday. But Saskatchewan's at Montreal. Both teams 5-1. That becomes a huge game in that conference, or I'm sorry, not in the conference, in the league. And then a sneaky one is the Calgary Ottawa game on Friday now. Because you're sitting there saying, if Calgary wins this and say Saskatchewan loses to Montreal, who's arguably the best team in the league, then they're just one game back. BC's on bye this week. They're certainly in the mix if they could pull that off. Or the other side of that coin is Montreal loses to Saskatchewan and Ottawa beats Calgary, and all of a sudden Ottawa's tied for first place. It's a fascinating development that could be happening in this league. Saturday's Winnipeg Toronto game is intriguing too. The only dud we got is Sunday Hamilton Edmonton, but as someone that still has a Hamilton future that I jokingly said was flushed down the toilet. And what better time to grab a win? They're going to lose though. Watch, they'll lose that game. But I'm just saying, if they could move the 2-5, then you never know. What game are you looking forward to most this weekend?
That's got to be Saskatchewan, Montreal for me, both at 5-1. This one in Montreal, we haven't heard a lot about if Cody Fajardo is back healthy after hurting his hamstring. If he is, I expect them to win by quite a bit. But even the books aren't sure. They haven't released the lines on this one because they don't know if he's healthy. It opened at 10. Who knows what it'll go to? But that's what I'm looking most forward to. I am curious to see that Winnipeg Toronto game though too. Winnipeg currently a 1.5 point favorite. It's in Toronto. That'll be interesting. And just looking at lines, Edmonton currently a favorite over Hamilton, and Calgary currently a favorite over Ottawa.
Whew. Big time matchup. Shout out to Drunken Irishman in the chat. Just saw you guys were live. How about that Calgary cash last night? He says, and shout out to the 477 people watching this thing. We appreciate it. Hop on over there. Wherever podcasts can be found, iTunes, Spotify, youtube.com, CFL gambling pod, type that in, you'll get us. On Twitter, also at CFL gambling pod. Power ranking time though. Let's get to this. Let's ditch this this nice artwork that I have. Team 9 for you. Curious.
Edmonton.
Agreed. Agreed.
Firing the coach you think is ready to fire him up, turn a new leaf, all that jazz, but they're the same old team. So they struggle, they lose games, and so it's got to be Edmonton.
I agree. As much as I hate Hamilton, even though I have a future on them, I agree. Edmonton is now solely in ninth, especially with Hamilton getting the dub. But also Hamilton has moved the rock way better. Like Hamilton's one is still perplexing to me because like I watch the offense and I go, you know what, they're not that bad. I mean, they play kind of pussy ball, but I'm saying like they have some playmakers. So I'm with you. Edmonton is at 9. Who do you got at 8?
Maybe this is a bit of a bitter choice, but what the fuck? Like just when you're believing in this team, they show up and they suck ass until they make a quarterback change. They're towards the bottom of the league for me. That's Winnipeg, and they got to do something different because it's not working.
I'm going to take Hamilton at 8, just because I think Winnipeg's the amount of veterans they have on the team. They've gutted out a couple wins, so I trust their like pedigree a little bit more. But I'm with you as far as like they look like shit most of the year. I'd say about 95% of the year. The Strevler start I think was the best performance they've shown us. But I for 8 for me is Hamilton. So so I'm assuming you have, who do you have at 7 then?
I got Hamilton at 7. They're just a team that they almost blew this game. But they move the ball well. They can't figure it out on defense, and they can't finish games all the time. So I got Hamilton at 7.
I got Winnipeg at 7, and I had a hard time with Winnipeg and Ottawa. But I'm sitting there like, fuck, Ottawa's 4-2. Who am I kidding? Like, okay, do I think if they played, I might take Winnipeg? Maybe, depends where it would be at, but. Ottawa's 4-2, and that's got to mean something. So give me Winnipeg as the the 7th ranked team for me. Yeah. Who are you? How about 6 for you?
This almost felt like too low, but I didn't feel comfortable putting them higher. Ottawa. I mean, their record looks great, but they still don't look like a dominant team by any means. I still think they're going to struggle against the top half, but they're starting to prove themselves a little bit. So I got Ottawa at 6.
Yeah, that was my 6 too, man. I still am a skeptic. When I like, as much as like I am happy that they're winning these games, and I think you start winning games, you start believing in yourself, you can accomplish a lot of crazy shit. So maybe this is a big step, towards great things for the Red Blacks, but I still think they're 6 for me too. How about number 5?
This hurts, but Toronto. I think they're a little fraudulent. They've won some good games, but I'm just starting to become a non-believer more than I am a believer. I have a future on them, but I'm not feeling very confident about that right now.
I hear you. I struggled with 5 and 4. I put Calgary just because they haven't closed out the games. I do think if you're talking about a team that could win the Grey Cup, that, I think without a doubt, if you were to poll all the CFL fans, they would probably tell you like the 3 best teams thus far this season would be BC, Saskatchewan, and Montreal, right? And maybe some would vote for Toronto to be in there. I actually think the biggest threat to all of that is Calgary, because like Calgary should have beaten Montreal, dominated the whole game for the most part. And I think they can. I think they're balanced. Like I think they have guys that and the defense plays like they did the other night. Then watch out, this team could really be dangerous. But I put them still at 5. I might eat shit on that. I'm probably going to eat shit on that looking back. But right now, I think they're the 5th. They've earned the 5th ranking. How about 4 for you?
Yeah, and just to quickly update on futures, Calgary currently 19-1 to win the Grey Cup. Toronto,
it's not a bad play, man. Not a bad play. Yeah,
agreed. Toronto at 6.5 to 1. I like the Calgary 19-1 much better for the value. Number 4, I do have Calgary because they're starting to impress me. Jake Mayer, I said, started all these games last year, and he's starting to show that he is more of a veteran. He's not making the stupid mistakes, not losing games for him. They're getting the run game going, and that defensive performance was impressive against BC.
Very impressed. Might be one of the better defensive performances of the whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah. At 4 for me was Toronto. There's some red flags, man. Like I said, like if they're playing Calgary next week, if they were to play, I might take Calgary. But I feel like based, that win against Montreal, they did lock down, but Fajardo got injured. How much of it was that? It's kind of hard to decipher. But at 4, I got Toronto. How about 3 for you?
3, I have BC. This was a bad performance, but I still think they're a very good team. I think Vernon Adams is going to bounce back and be just fine. I saw some stuff on social media about how he was horrible and they can't have that from him and all this, yada, yada. It was a bad game, yeah, but I don't think the sky is falling yet on BC.
Yeah, at 3, I have Saskatchewan. Even though they only have 1 loss, I trust BC's. But I'll tell you, man, I'm starting to I like Saskatchewan more than BC as like a football fan. But the skill position players for BC, I just feel like are so fucking good. They have an edge on every team in the league at the skill position, in my opinion. Yeah. But you don't win games always doing that. You know what I mean? There's a lot of great teams. If you look at the NFL or college football or other CFL teams back in the day, that just because you have the edge at the skill position, the game's always won in the trenches a lot, majority of the time. And I feel like that's a little bit of a red flag for BC. So, I had Saskatchewan 3 though. I had BC 2. Who'd you have at 2?
I had Saskatchewan at 2. I think their defense is one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed necessarily with Shea Patterson, but AJ Alouette getting it going on the ground now, I think that's going to help them a lot. And that's going to take that pressure off of Shea Patterson. Plus, Shea's not going to be their starter for much longer, I don't think. So I think Saskatchewan is doing really well. Plus, they haven't lost at home. So home games are almost a lock for them.
Fair. And they're gritty, man. They're a gritty team. Number 1, we both have the Montreal Alouettes. To me, it's like their one blemish. Fajardo didn't play. Now they probably should have lost to Calgary, but hey, it was a gut check game, and I like the fact that they responded and made that a close game and ended up stealing it. So they won the Grey Cup last year. The defense is super good. I still got to rank them number 1. We'll see how they do after the bye week. But any thoughts on the Alouettes?
Just that I got a lot of shit from the Redditors for not having them at number 1 to start the season, and having Toronto there. But I repent my sins, I guess, so to speak, and I got them at number 1 now. I was wrong. I will admit it. Yeah, exactly. I was wrong. I'll admit it, and I think the Alouettes are the best team in the league right now.
Fascinated for them, man. So your top 2 teams are playing each other then, Saskatchewan and the Alouettes. Can't fucking wait. Folks, we'll be back in a couple days to do our week 8 preview picks and DFS. Appreciate you tuning in. If you can, subscribe to the CFL Gambling. If you really can, hop on over to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. It'd certainly help us. So please hop on over there, do that. Also, youtube.com, jump over there, CFL Gambling Podcast. Watch this thing, subscribe, tell a friend, all that good stuff as the road to the 111th Grey Cup continues on. Until next time, folks, make sure you give J-Mark a follow at JMark Football on Twitter. Check out the Old Fashioned Football Podcast. Highly recommended. I know you guys went live recently. What do you got on tap next?
Yeah, so something you're not into, indoor football. We're going to have Cannabis Capper on to talk about Indoor Football League. He's been big into it this year. He's been winning a lot of bets. I think he's like 39-25, if I remember correctly. So he's going to come on and talk about their playoffs, which start on Friday. And then we're also breaking down our top 12s in quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, etc. For fantasy football. So check that out.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
Yeah, I'm not a big football action. I saw that shit in a shopping mall this past weekend.
That's arena football. Indoors a little bit better because that's home of the Barnstormers.
That is true. I do love the Barnstormers. I want the UFL to purchase the Barnstormers and the Arizona Rattlers. But I mean, I love how they did it football at a shopping mall. because that's already been happening in the NFL for a few years now. Go check out Allegiant Stadium or SoFi Stadium or that toaster oven in Atlanta. Or no, not in Atlanta. In Arizona is the toaster oven. It's a shitty stadium in Atlanta too, though. But anyway, folks, we can do a deep dive on that. Make sure you follow J Mark. I'm on Twitter at @TheColbyD. Check out the College Football Experience podcast and the Stadium Heads podcast. We talk stadiums, the history of football stadiums. It's all good shit. Go check it out. Also, check out the FCS College Football Experience, the College Basketball Experience, which is inching closer. I was a guest on a pod today talking college hoops. And also, check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. All right. Until next time, folks, this is the CFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
No cream, no sugar, mocha only. Choke the microphone the way he low can choke a phony, won't he? Told him play your station like a broken Sony. Tenderoni phone, she only come and stroke the pony. That good loving deserves a Hong and a Tony. Raps in the hood bugging, he want more raw baloney. Chachi need to watch his bony, skinny Joni. Yelling fit and fatten her up with minestrone. Been grown, chrome Molly skin tone. While he rock the end zone, tap your toe or chin bone. The choice is yours alone. The game for the throne, and to get the game zone. Doom name known as the Don for sure, true. And he won't show his face or sponsor your group. For a loop, she speak up if you want some more soup.
New suits again, who do's cruise again, who's too smooth, who's flus want snooze with them. No surprise, no new news to him, here's a light bulb, now how many of you screw this in? I do better when it's less team effort, with an old blue sweater, I'm a less clean dresser. Full circle, back to the drawing board, mic by the mirror, I'm the best I ever saw record. Smoke and doom, get it sewn like an open wound, two scientists up in the lab will make it go kaboom. They said don't mix those two properties together, probably end up with some empty eye sockets or whatever. I'm only here to hunt pleasure like some treasure. Never from a whack pack of bitches like the Heathers. After this, you better owe them for some loot. You freaks, what the fuck will make me want some more soup?